Hello everybody and welcome, I am Boom. Only yesterday was my birthday, so for the purposes of this video, I am officially going by Birthday Boom at the moment. Hey, so you know how I've said in other videos that math is not my strong suit? Well, that is true, because now that I am in editing, my birthday is not for another 2 weeks. I know that I usually post these a couple days ahead of time, so maybe that's where the confusion lies, but yeah, definitely, yeah, we're just gonna move on. Your pretty typical water and electric moveset. Also, there is a bird just having the time of its life outside, and I have the windows open, so if you hear that, my apologies. Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Surf, just to name a few of its moves. For this run, we'll give the rival Bulbasaur, since that'll likely be the one that's going to provide us the most trouble. I assume that we'll be able to beat this, we just might have to be at a higher level. Overall, there are a lot of weaker Pokemon in the Johto decks, and for a first stage Mon, this actually does land right around that first stage starter Pokemon range, so I have a pretty good feeling about it. For our nature, when we grab this, we have a sassy nature, raising defense but lowering our speed, which honestly, that's fine. We can use the Quick Claw later if needed. During the lab rival battle, we pull out every option that we have. We paralyze it, we confuse it, when we have the option of course, and even with all that happening, we still end up going down. However, since we only have Bubble as a consistent damaging move, that's not super surprising, so we're just gonna go ahead and move on. It is part of the slow level up growth rate, so things are going to be a little dicey, especially in the early stages of this game, where we don't have too many options. Going through Viridian Forest, that's actually kind of rough for us, given the same reason we lost to the rival in the lab. Bubble itself is a 20 base power move, so even though we do manage to defeat a lot of the trainers, usually after a couple attempts, we have to run back to the Poke Center pretty often because we're using up most of our PP during that time. I did at the very least want to try to double back and fight the rival as well, but as you can see here from the footage, it takes a lot of turns just to take down Pidgey. During this time, it's just obliterating our accuracy with Sand Attack, so unfortunately that means by the time the Bulbasaur comes out, it just ends up taking us down. So I don't want to spend too much time grinding out levels just to get a little EXP from that additional rival fight. So what I actually do at that point is I just head back through the forest and go fight Brock. Brock starts with Geodude, who we take below half, and then we can take it out. Then, with Onix, we can take it to yellow and lower its speed, so the next turn we can go ahead and take it out to win the first badge pretty quickly. From there, we do have some travel ahead, and it's at this time I'd like to remind you to subscribe to the channel. We're working on watch hours, and at the time of writing this, on Saturday, I'll be recording Pokemon Jeopardy with friends, assuming all our schedules remain lined up. I'm about finished writing my Sad Pokemon NPC video. The only thing that I think is going to be a bit of a pain is splicing together the game footage, because that's what I primarily want to show, because I do feel like that's probably going to be the most impactful. But I don't have the YouTube TV, whatever it's called, that allows me to go ahead and download videos. So I'm going to have to go a different way of getting footage. I have an idea, but for the most part, that's future Brickerboom problems. Current Brickerboom wants to... Oh, sorry. That's future Birthday Boom problems. Current Birthday Boom wants to remind you that the Dome Fossil is always the proper fossil to take as we go ahead and head into Cerulean City. We have two options that are available for us, and honestly, neither of them are pleasant, but given our typing, I want to try Misty first. Or rather, I was going to, but we're having a lot of trouble just getting through the trainers in her gym, but we at least level up enough to grab Water Gun on the way. Since we're having trouble against the scrubs, we know that we won't be able to take on Misty herself, so what we do is go ahead and head out to the rival. Pidgeotto is first, and we can actually take it down in a couple shots, though Sand Attack is always going to be concerning. The main problem is, after that, we are still getting walled by Bulbasaur. We do try this battle a lot, but unfortunately, we're just not doing enough damage. Even if we get a lucky crit on the Pidgeotto and we're not missing, The Bulbasaur can actually take us from full health down in about 3 shots, and Water Gun is too weak to do much of anything given the fact that he resists it. So, without too much of an option at the moment, we go ahead and level up. Once we get to level 25, we have access to Spark, which is a good chunk more powerful than Water Gun. So now that we have access to that, we'll go ahead and go fight Misty. Staryu is first, and we open with Spark, taking it down in one go. After that, it's out to Starmie, and Swift connects for a bit of damage, and we take it to Red. Misty heals, and we take it back to Red, and then after that, another Swift connects before we take it down to win the battle. At this level, and about 3 attempts in, we take the Pidgeotto down in one go. We confuse Bulbasaur off a Water Pulse, and then swap back to Spark and also paralyze it. After that, we can take it down, though a Vine Whip does take us down to a little below half. After that, Rattata is out, and it hits with a quick attack before we take it out, though we don't have too much HP left. And in recording this, I never covered the Abra part of the battle, but let's be honest, it's not even much of a threat at this stage. My bad. After that, we can go ahead and go do the route to the north, and then from there, head to the ship. Now, I will say, normally if I have this much trouble in the beginning of the game, I would take on every trainer, both on the route to the north and the ship as well, but I have a feeling that as we get into the back half of the game, we're gonna see Chinchou pull ahead quite a bit. For now, let's go ahead, fight the rival on the ship and Surge, and then while we travel into the next part of the game, I can go ahead and explain that a little bit better. Pidgeotto is first, and we take it down with a single Spark. Ivysaur is up, and we use another Spark to barely do anything as we get put to sleep. A few Vine Whips later, we get seated, and then we go down pretty quickly. So, a few attempts in, and Pidgeotto is always the same, but then we go ahead, paralyze the Ivysaur first, and then we do manage to confuse it with Water Pulse. We do get Vine Whip, Leech Seeded, and put to sleep for a few turns, but we wake up and manage to take it out. After that, thankfully, both the Raticate and the Kadabra are one-shots, and that's really the only reason that we were able to win this battle. After that, we go to the captain and then Surge's gym. This should be pretty easy for us, given the fact that we have Volt Absorb, but then again, most of the big fights are kind of proving to be a bit more difficult than I would have imagined, but let's go ahead and take a look. Voltorb is first, and Water Pulse takes it down in one turn. Pikachu is next out, and we do another Water Pulse, taking it down as well. Raichu is his last Pokemon, and he uses Thunder Wave, and we take it to not quite half with Water Pulse as it sets up Double Team. Another Water Pulse takes it to red, and Surge heals up. After that, a Water Pulse takes it to just about half as it attempts Shockwave, but again, Volt Absorb, so we can go ahead and take it down. So with those fights out of the way, we'll head through the Dark Cave, and I can go ahead and explain at least a little bit. Getting access to Celadon is going to give us both Ice Beam and Thunderbolt. We'll be able to replace Spark, and also be able to replace Flail. At the end of the day, our special is much better than our physical attack, so trying to attack with physical moves does not work well for us. Then, after we get through at least Giovanni in the tower, we'll be able to grab Surf. We may not be able to beat Erika until a little bit later, but I have full faith that we'll be able to beat Giovanni, and if needed, the rival. If we can't beat Erika, then we'll go ahead and come back later. She doesn't lock any story-important HMs, so I think we'll be fine. Then on top of that, the last kind of important thing is that there are plenty of mandatory trainers, both on the way to the cave and inside the cave. So I think that we'll gain some levels that way. So that's why I wasn't too worried about fighting as many on the route and on the ship. Because if we did, then we would be wildly overleveled by the time that we got there. But for now, let's go ahead and see how Giovanni goes. Onyx is first, taking it down in one shot. We pass up on takedown, partly due to the recoil damage and mostly due to our weak physical. After that, the Rhyhorn is out, and we can take it down in one shot as well. Then, with Kangaskhan, we take about a quarter of its health. Then, we swap over to Water Pulse and get a crit to take it to red, as it uses Tail Whip. Then, we finish it off with Ice Beam to win the match. Alright, now we'll go ahead and try the Erika fight. We might be able to win at this level, given the fact that we have Ice Beam on our side. Erika starts with Victory Bell, and we open with Ice Beam, taking it down in one go. After that, it's out to Tangela, and that takes it down too. Finally, it's out to Vileplume. We take it to Red, freezing it, but it defrosts immediately as it uses Stun Spore. Erika heals up, and we use Thunderbolt for a bit of chip damage, though in hindsight that was kind of goofy, since she uses Giga Drain next turn as we use Ice Beam, and then after that a critical hit takes us down. Next attempt, we just keep spamming Ice Beam, and that ends up winning us the match. Sometimes the easiest solution for us is also the most effective. Don't need to try to big brain it if I could just brute force my way through. Alright, with that then, back to the tower. Pidgeotto is up first, and we get hit with Quick Attack as we use Thunderbolt to take it down. After that, it's out to Ivysaur, and we swap over to Ice Beam, taking it down in one go. With Gyarados, we're pretty well equipped to take it on, and it goes down to one Thunderbolt. Then, Growlithe is out, and we swap over to Water Pulse, taking it down. Then, finally, it's out to Kadabra, and we're able to knock it out in one go, winning us a pretty simple battle. Alright, now it is time for us to move into the back half of the game and take a look at how Chinchou is doing overall. And overall, it is getting smacked down quite a bit, especially early on. Now that we have the updated moveset, I think that we'll be okay for the most part. It'll also help that the last two gyms we're going to have super effective moves against, assuming that we can survive any of the hits that Blaine is going to dish out against us. What we do, just to be able to make sure we can survive some hits, is that we grab leftovers on the way to Koga. If we get toxic poison, then we're probably going to go down, but if we just get regular poisoned for whatever reason, we'll at least be able to break even on the HP. More often than not, I typically just prefer the Quick Claw, but in this particular case, given how bulky our HP stat is, I think the leftovers are going to go a long way to keep us alive. I do write this script as we go along, so truthfully, the theory crafting is done before I've even gotten to this part of the game. For now, though, we are going to go ahead and fight Koga. I can see our HP stat playing against us if we do end up getting the toxic poison, but we'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, we'll go to Silph Co and try to move through that portion of the game. If that doesn't work, well then we are officially out of options because we need access to Surf to get any further. Koga first starts with Coughing, and we use Thunder Wave just in case we can't one-shot it, and that pays off immediately, and then we do end up one-shotting it. After that, it's Muck, and we paralyze it as well, as it uses Minimize. We miss, and it uses Minimize again, and we don't even do half damage. After that, we just keep missing as we get Toxic Poisoned, and just keep missing even more until we just go down. The very next attempt, we go ahead and one-shot the Coughing. As Muck comes out, we use Surf to do solid damage and get hit with Sludge. Since we don't get hit with Toxic, we can actually just take it down a couple turns later. When the next Coughing comes out, we're able to take it down with a single Surf. And then finally, you have Wheezing, and we take it to just below half as it uses Toxic, and then we can go ahead, take it down for a pretty simple victory. Alright, so from there, we're going to go ahead and hit up Silph Co. This is definitely going to be one of the harder rival fights that we can come across, but now we have an updated moveset, so we should at least stand a chance. The Venusaur is going to be pretty hard for us to face, but let's take a look. If it seems like no matter what we try, we don't stand a chance, we'll go ahead, level up some trainers, and then skip to afterwards. The rival starts with Pidgeot, and we're able to open up with Thunderbolt, as Quick Attack does a bit of damage. Thankfully, Thunderbolt is strong enough to give it a clean one-shot. After that, Venusaur is out, and we swap over to Ice Beam, landing a critical hit and taking it out that I am 99% sure we needed. Gyarados is next, and we swap back to Thunderbolt so we can take it out in one go as well. After that, you have Growlithe. We swap over to Surf, and that's enough for a one-shot. Then, finally, we have Alakazam as it uses Calm Mind, and we use Thunderbolt, taking it to about half. It uses another Calm Mind as we use Thunder Wave, forgetting about Synchronize, so we both end up paralyzed. It sets up Reflect, and we take it to red with Surf, as it uses Future Sight, and then we can take it out for a pretty sloppy victory. Let's see if Giovanni goes any better. Hopefully I play at least a little bit smarter. Giovanni starts with Nidorino, and we open up with Surf, taking it to yellow as Fury Attack connects, and then we can take it down. After that, Nidoqueen is out, and we continue with Surf, taking it to low yellow as Poison Sting connects, and then we can take it out. After that, Kangaskhan is out, and we use Thunderbolt, taking it to red with a crit as we get hit with a Mega Punch down to 27 HP from a crit before we take it out. Then last up is Rhyhorn, and we outspeed it and one-shot it, so we take it down for a narrow victory. Now it's time to face Sabrina, and I gotta admit, if there is any gym leader that can take us down easily, it's probably gonna be her. We do have a decent enough special defense, but Alakazam, especially if it chooses to attack, can absolutely dismantle an entire team, let alone a solo first stage Pokemon challenge. But let's take a look and see how it goes. Sabrina starts with Kadabra, and we use Surf, taking it to red as it sets up Future Sight. Sabrina heals up, and we take it to red with Thunderbolt, then take it down. Mr. Mime is next and uses Future Sight. Mr. Mime is next and Future Sight connects, and we use Surf, taking it out with a critical hit. Venomoth comes out, and we swap over to Ice Beam, taking it to not quite half as Psybeam connects. We then swap over to Thunderbolt, taking it down. Last but not least is Alakazam as it sets up Calm Mind, and we use Surf, taking it out with a critical hit to win the battle. Alright, well that was easier than I thought, and with one more badge out of the way, we can go ahead and make our way to Cinnabar. Admittedly, I feel pretty good about the upcoming 2 gym battles that we have. Assuming we can one-shot or at least tank a hit from Venusaur, we'll also probably do alright until it's time to fight the Elite Four. After we get these battles out of the way, we'll go ahead and theorycraft for the upcoming Elite Four. For now, though, I think we just need to see how we do against Blaine. Blaine first starts with Growlithe, and we open up with Surf, taking it down in one shot. After that, he swaps over to Ponyta. That's also a clean one shot. Now let's see if we can continue this with his fully evolved Pokemon. Rapidash comes out, and it does outspeed, but it actually misses Fire Blast, and we can take it down. Last up to the plate is Arcanine, and we Surf it, taking it to red as it uses Takedown for solid damage, but the recoil doesn't knock it out. After that, we use Thunderbolt on a heal up, mostly wanting to avoid a second heal, but we take it to red with an untimely critical hit. Blaine does heal again, and we use Thunderbolt, taking it to not quite half. Then we swap to Surf and take it down for a pretty clean victory. Let's go ahead and see how Giovanni goes. Rhyhorn, one shot. Dugtrio, one shot. After getting wrecked by Earthquake. Nidoqueen goes to red, then knocks us out. Okay, maybe I went into this battle just a little too confident. The second battle, however, goes the exact same at the beginning, but we get a high roll of damage on the Nidoqueen to finish it off early. Then, when Nidoking is out, we can take it out as well. Finally, he has one more Rhyhorn, and it's, say it with me now, a one-shot. That wins us the battle and the final badge. Now we have one more rival fight. Pidgeot is first, and Quick Attack does some decent damage, and we use Thunderbolt, taking it to yellow, getting hit with another Quick Attack before it goes down. Venusaur comes out next, and we swap to Ice Beam as Razor Leaf takes us down to 4 HP, and then after that, we get knocked out. So, what we do is we go grab some vitamins, look at our moveset, but for the most part, there isn't much that we're able to change in strategy here. Chinchou, as we know, has a decent typing, but given the fact that it doesn't have any really big resistances from the rival team, his Pokemon are actually a pretty solid match against ours. Right now, Venusaur is the biggest threat because it doesn't have to set up for Solar Beam. I don't know why they gave it Solar Beam, probably because they gave Hydro Pump to Blastoise and Fire Blast to Charizard. However, this is the only really big move that takes a turn to charge up, so it's not really fair. After we get some levels, though, we're going to go ahead and try again. At level 60, we can one-shot the Pidgeot with a single Thunderbolt, and it doesn't use Quick Attack. Then, Venusaur goes right to around half, but it uses Sweet Scent to lower our evasiveness, and then it goes down as well. After that, his Rhyhorn, his Gyarados, and his Growlithe are all a one-shot, and that leaves us with Alakazam. Alakazam uses Calm Mind as we use Thunderbolt. It uses Disable, which we predicted, so we swap to Surf. Then it blasts us with a Psychic down to below half as we take it out to win the battle. Alright, one more battle down. It's time for us to head to the Elite Four, and as always, we'll talk about them as a whole. With Lorelei, I have to imagine that it's gonna be a pretty easy battle. We're gonna be able to actively resist most of her attacks while also hitting for super effective damage. The only one that we won't deal super effective damage to is Jinx, and that could go either way. Then there's Bruno, and I can see him being a bit of a pain. We're pretty frail at this level, so we'll be sure to level up a little bit on the trainers along the way. Then you have Agatha, and that can be hit or miss, just like her moveset. And that's also because we don't really have any super effective moves on ghosts. Her Golbat probably won't be a problem. Lance should be pretty simple as long as we can one-shot. If we can't one-shot, we'll just have to hope that we can survive at least one outrage. Then you have the final rival, and we have big problems there. First is that we gotta be able to two-shot the Venusaur. Then, as long as we can outdamage the Alakazam, the rest of his team should be easy enough. I don't know if this is gonna work, but with that out of the way, let's go ahead and see how things go against Lorelei. Dugong is up first, and we take it to red with Thunderbolt as it sets up Hail. Lorelei heals up, and then we can take it down 2 turns later, and thanks to leftovers, we are still at normal health. Cloyster does like to waste time, but it is a one-shot. Then you have Slowbro, who we hit hard, and it retaliates with Surf before it goes down. Jinx is surprisingly a thorn in our side, and we do use Thunder Wave to paralyze it right off the get-go. This battle did take about a dozen tries due to it putting us to sleep and attracting us, but we do manage to take it down without too much trouble this time around. And then finally, you have Lapras, and Thunderbolt takes it to a little below half as Body Slam connects and paralyzes. It does confuse us and we smack ourselves. Another Body Slam connects, but we snap out of confusion, land a critical hit, and take it down, although it was a narrow of narrow victories. Now we're going to see if we can fight Bruno. Bruno first starts with Onix, which is always going to be a one-shot with Surf, and we can continue that process with the second one. After that, Hitmonchan is out, and we use Surf, taking it to about half as Rock Tomb connects and lowers our speed. With our lowered speed, Hitmonchan now outspeeds and lands a Sky Uppercut to take us well below half. We get a low roll on the damage, not taking it out, and then Bruno heals. We do try to take it out, and we get very close, but ultimately we're just not doing enough damage to it. Back to the level up drawing board, because even on the attempts where we're able to make it past the Hitmonchan, the Hitmonlee is able to knock us out. We had one attempt where we had a very lucky crit, and then Machamp just knocked us out. With this battle, we basically have to one-shot, or we're going to be 2 to 3 shotted pretty quickly. At level 70, the Onix remain the same, and honestly, the Hitmonchan kind of does as well. The biggest difference is now the amount of damage that we can take, but we do take it down. Hitmonlee misses its first attack as we take it below half, get hit pretty hard, then knock it out. Finally, you have Machamp, and we take it to about half as Cross Chop misses, but then we can go ahead to knock it out to win the battle. 2 down, 3 to go, and I think this one is probably going to be tricky as well. Gengar is first, and we use Surf, taking it to a little below half as it double teams, and we get Shadow Punch, then take it down. After that, Golbat comes out, and we swap to Ice Beam, taking it to red as Confuse Ray connects. We do push past, but then we can take it down. Arbok is her next Pokemon, and we smack ourselves as we get hit with Screech, and we take it below half as another Screech connects before it goes down. Gengar is out and puts us to sleep, but given the fact that we have 4 lowered stages of defense, we get taken out with a Sludge Bomb and a Shadow Ball before we wake up. I think we can do this at this level. I think it's just going to require some misses from Agatha, so let's go ahead and try this a little bit more. 7 attempts in, and Gengar does use Confuse Ray, but we don't smack ourselves, and then we can take it out. Then you have Golbat, and although we do have some damage dealt against us, we can at least waste a few turns in confusion. This time with the Arbok, since we don't smack ourselves, we can take it down in 2 turns, though it still does use 1 Screech on us. As the second Gengar comes out, it's kind enough to miss Hypnosis, and while Agatha does heal, we can take it down a few turns later after the Sludge Bomb connects. Then finally, you have Haunter, and Surf is a clean one-shot to win this battle. Let's move on to Lance and see how that goes. Hopefully it is at least a little bit easier. Gyarados is first and goes down to a single Thunderbolt. Then, with both the Dragonair, we get a high roll on the damage to take both of them down in one shot. Then, Dragonite is out, we take it to red and freeze it so it doesn't actually get to do much. Lance does spend a few turns healing, but then we can take it down. Last but not least is Aerodactyl, and while it does land some solid hits with Ancient Power, it doesn't get any kind of Omni boost, so we can actually take it down with a pretty clean 2-shot. Alright, we have one more battle to go. Pidgeotta's first, and we could take it down with a single Thunderbolt. Then, with Venusaur, we take it below half as the berry heals it up some, and it only uses Growth, so we could take it down. Rhydon is a 1-shot, and then this is where I learned something. When Alakazam comes out, we freeze it with Ice Beam, but Synchronize doesn't activate with this, so apparently the only time that Synchronize will actually activate is when you use a status of some kind. I assumed that the secondary effects would count, but apparently it does not. I don't know if that changes in later generations, but if you know, I would love to hear it in the comments. But because of that, we can take it down next turn. Thunderbolt 1-shots Gyarados, and Arcanine hits for solid damage with extreme speed before it goes down to win us the battle and the run. Alright, well, I hope that you enjoyed that particular run, because I did, and Chinchou has been one that I've enjoyed since I was a kid. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of Gen 2 Pokemon stat spreads just don't quite hold up to Gen 1, probably because they were still figuring things out, so getting a chance to give some love to Gen 2 Pokemon is always fun. This Saturday, like I said, I'm going to be doing Pokemon Jeopardy, so that'll hopefully go up early next week. And all next week, I'm going to be on vacation, so I will be on some heavy editing duty after getting some housework taken care of. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you. In the meantime, though, what do you guys have going on this summer? We're finally now in at least what I hope is spring, so the housework and the outside work is finally in full swing. My kiddo will be out of school in about a month. I'm, as always, not 100% sure how videos are going to work with that, but I always figure out something. I think for me, though, we're going to go ahead and go visit a new goth bakery that opened up about a half hour or so away from us, so I'm super excited for that. My birthday is in 2 weeks from recording this, roughly. 2 weeks and 2 days from recording this, my bad. Math has never been my strong suit. But I'm not going to ramble. I'm going to go ahead and get this done, and I actually got to get ready for work here in a few minutes. So, as always, if you liked the video, even if you didn't like the video, hit the like and subscribe button, because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out.